More of the John and Ken Show. John Cobell and Ken Champeau, KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. We've told you that the people behind this global warming hoax.
It's climate change, sir.
Many of them are insane.
We do not call it global warming anymore.
I'm going with their term. That was their term. They claim global warming. I told you a lot of these people are crazy. Like, not just crazy because they have a wacky theory, but internally wired. They're crazy. And this is one of the best examples because this guy was the Environmental Protection Agency's highest paid employee and their leading expert on climate change.
Yep.
This is from NBC News, Michael Isikoff, their investigative correspondent.
Well, this guy, his name is John C. Beale, pled guilty in September to bilking our government out of nearly $1 million in salary and other benefits. He apparently was telling his bosses at the EPA that he was a CIA spy working in Pakistan. So he would leave for long periods of time. Apparently he was just at home, relaxing, reading, taking naps. But he would send out these emails like he was over in Pakistan. Here's one from December 18, 2010. Due to recent events that you have probably read about, I'm in Pakistan. Got the call Thursday, left Friday. Hope to be back for Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
In fact, Beale had no relationship with the CIA at all. He didn't even have a security clearance. All he would do was ride bikes, do housework, read books, bilking the government $1 million.
Nice.
$1 million in salary. He was a senior policy advisor in the Office of Air and Radiation.
Air and Radiation?
Yeah. He was an NYU grad, master's from Princeton, salary and bonuses, $206,000 a year, highest paid official at the EPA. Highest paid. And he took first-class trips to London, stayed at five-star hotels, racked up thousands of dollars in bills for limos and taxis.
Oh, he did go places. All right.
Yeah.
I thought he was mostly at home and riding his bike and doing his housework and reading his books, or a vacation house on Cape Cod.
They never verified any of his cover stories about CIA work, and they never checked about the hundreds of thousands of dollars he got in bonuses and travel expenses.
The CIA has never heard of him. He's never been to Langley. The CIA has no record of him ever walking through the door. Now, he pled guilty to bilking the government out of that money over a 10-year period, and he faces sentencing on Wednesday. Just 30 months, huh? You can only get, it says at least 30 months. It doesn't seem like much.
He also claimed to be suffering from malaria that he got while serving in Vietnam. But he never had malaria, and he never served in Vietnam.
Oh, delusional.
He told that story so he could get special handicap parking at a garage near the headquarters.
Straight to hell with that one.
Yeah, he ought to join Ethan Couch on the Hell Express.
His attorney, John Kern, said with the help of his therapist, Mr. Beale has come to recognize that beyond the motive of greed, his theft and deception were animated by a highly self-destructive and dysfunctional need to engage in excessively reckless, risky behavior. He was driven to manipulate those around him through the fabrication of grandiose narratives that were fueled by his own insecurities. What do you think of that gobbledygook?
That's a sociopath. It's a brain disorder. The thing is, again, you can't fix that. There's no therapy that's going to make him realize this. Many of these people are superficially charming, even charismatic, and they do engage in a lot of grandiose ideas, and they're very convincing to people.
Well, he came to California in 2008. He didn't show up at the EPA for 6 months, saying he was part of a special multi-agency election year project. Candidate security for the CIA.
Holy crap.
He billed the government $57,000 for 5 trips to California. Yeah. That he really just took for personal reasons. His parents live here.
Parents live here, yeah. The trip to see. All right. So listen to his global warming work here. In fact, Beale's lawyer wanted the judge to balance all of Beale's crimes against his years of admirable work for the government. You want to hear what his work is? Helping to rewrite the Clean Air Act in 1990, heading up EPA delegations to the United Nations global warming conferences in 2000 and 2001, helping to negotiate agreements to reduce carbon emissions with China, India, and other nations. So this guy was the top point man in the government going back to the Clinton years, actually going all the way back to the first George Bush. He was the top point man on global warming. He was the head of the delegation to the United Nations for all the great global warming conferences. He was in on the negotiation with all the foreign countries over carbon emissions. He was Mr. Global Warming here in America. And it turns out he's a complete and utter fraud. That's all you need to know about the global warming hoax. The top guy in the U.S. government on global warming was a complete psycho wacko job.
In March of 2012, well, actually going back to September of 2011, they had a retirement party for him. Apparently included top EPA officials. 6 months later, though, they found out he's still on the payroll. One official wrote, "I thought he's already retired." She then initialed a review that was forwarded to the EPA General Counsel's office. But the Inspector General's was not alerted until February of this year, and he didn't actually retire until April. So even though he had a retirement party in September, he was still on the payroll until April.
A year and a half later.
Asked why this fraud occurred at the EPA, one official said, "There's a certain culture here at the EPA where the mission is the most important thing.
There you go.
We don't like criminal investigators. They tend to be very trusting and accepting here." So they just took him at his word.
Yeah, because it's a mission, you see, like a religious mission, like a religious zealot. The whole global warming hoax is fed by people who are on a religious mission. And as long as they have good intentions, as long as they are true to the goal, then if they're a complete fraud in their professional and private life, it doesn't matter. He's true to the mission. The mission is what matters. And so you tell me they couldn't get I mean, I'm sure he was a great liar. I'm sure he was very convincing, but still. Wouldn't you go through the paperwork when you're paying this guy so many tens of thousands of dollars for bogus trips? I mean, he's going to London. What's he doing in London at a 5-star hotel? What I mean, even if you're going to the big global warming conference in London, why are you staying at a 5-star hotel if you're working for the government?
Because you can.
Because no one's going to check. Because he's so important to the mission. Mission.
He's an NYU grad with a master's from Princeton, and he did earn with salary and bonuses $206,000 a year, making him the highest paid official at the EPA. He earned more than Gina McCarthy, the agency's administrator.
Yeah. Oh, he's probably a brilliant, intellectually brilliant, but he's a sociopath. He's got no conscience.
I guess that wasn't enough to be the top climate expert at the EPA. He wanted to tell everybody that he works with that I'm also with the CIA.
Yeah.
I'm doing important undercover work.
Yeah. Because he's got some big psychic hole in him. He feels worthless. He's got no self-esteem. He wants people to think, he's bigger than he is.
Well, now he's going to face some prison time. How old is he now? 60? Is that what I read?
I thought something like that.
Yeah.
He was.
So he just snapped when he was 50 years old because they said it was over a 10-year period going back to around 2000.
Oh, no, he's been doing this all his life. Yes. Yeah, in fact, they ought to check. Maybe he never really graduated from NYU and Princeton. Guys like this, they do this when they're teenagers. They start when they're teenagers.
All right, more coming up on the global warming. Oh, no, another one of these stories. Satellite data shows the Arctic sea ice coverage is up 50%. What?
How could that be? John and Ken Show, and Shannon Farron is the news.